And we are rethinking the SOPHIA Mythos. We're talking about Archons and the fall of a goddess. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is New Cosmic Knowledge coming to you tonight from the NCK bunker, the soon-to-be dismantled NCK bunker here on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And we'll be going and creating a new NCK bunker in southeast Florida in a top secret location that shall not be revealed. So I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is New Cosmic Knowledge, and we want to talk tonight about the rethinking of the SOPHIA Mythos, the rethinking of Archons, the rethinking of a fall of a goddess. SOPHIA is Baphomet. Wrong answer, in my opinion, and that's okay. You're allowed to have opinions. Jeff is so in love. There's no doubt about it, and Jeff is loving this hot tea right now. But let's get into this SOPHIA Mythos. And ladies and gentlemen, I do have several pages of notes. We're not going to use them all tonight, but today, some years ago, right after I've been on Coast to Coast the first time, I guess it's been 5-6 years, I had occasion to have some interaction with John Lash Lamb. And that interaction did not end well. I received a severe tongue lashing from Mr. Lash Lamb, and not in a good way. And it came to, it just wasn't a real good scenario. But today I did watch for the first time his presentation. Hello, Rocky Stucci. His presentation of SOPHIA Return of SOPHIA, something about that. It was a very well put together project, a very well put together documentary. And I learned some things from it. And I sent him a letter and apologized to him, asked him to come on the channel. But he, of course, he's not doing interviews anymore. But however, on that note, I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, are you ready for this? I will be joined by Global Witness. Global Witness will be here on the New Cosmic Knowledge channel. Many of you have asked for that. Many of you have begged for that. Many of you have been excited for that. So come Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, the one, the only Global Witness will be here on the New Cosmic Knowledge channel. Don't fear, we will bring you Serpent and Dove as well, but we'll bring that to you at a different day or at least a different time. But Global Witness on this channel, very excited. Magenta Pixie coming up on this channel, very excited. We're looking forward to some great live broadcasting, some great broadcast excellence. As the story goes, ladies and gentlemen, the goddess SOPHIA, without the acquiescence or involvement of her consort, created the first Archon, Yaldabaoth. And Yaldabaoth, according to most popular thought and opinion, turned into Yahweh, Jehovah, the God of the Old Testament. Greg, I appreciate your opinion, but don't push it. This is my channel, not yours. And that was the story. And it was very linear. SOPHIA falls, quote unquote, disobeys her consort or acts without the consent of her consort, creates Yaldabaoth, who becomes Yahweh, and all hell literally breaks loose. But I don't know why, and this didn't really come from John Lash Lamb. This came from Sandra D'Angelo, the soon-to-be Sandra Daugherty. I don't know how we're getting into Trump, TL, but I got your email. I appreciate that. And I'm not sure. I don't think that's how it happened. In fact, I'm sure that's not how it happened. And we're going to spend some time both tonight and later on as we go in the weeks to come talking about and rethinking the SOPHIA Mythos. And I don't know why I didn't see this before. the fact of the matter is, for us to believe that the Gnostics, the Gnostic writers gave us this linear, simple, easy to follow, literal ABCD presentation of the Sophia Mythos, it's almost laughable that we bought that, because there's no way they would give us just a straight linear progression type revelation. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the Gnostics were deep. They were spiritual. We should have learned to look between the lines. We should have looked beneath the surface. We should have looked 2, 3, 4 layers deep, ladies and gentlemen. We should have. We haven't, but now we have, and now we are. And I'm looking at this, talking with Sandra, pondering this, debating with Sandra, iron sharpening iron, talking, thinking. And we are, by the way, going to have a new podcast that Rocky Stucci's been very instrumental in helping us with. And we're talking about going on Gaia TV, depending upon how that works. So keep that in your intentions and send us some good juju. And let's see what happens. There's powerful, good things ahead for this work and for those of us that are associated with it. So as I listen to Mr. Lamb's work, as I talked and debated and thought and meditated and concentrated with Sandra, it began to fall into my mind, and there began to be downloads after downloads. The downloads were getting downloads that there's probably not this linear progression from the Gnostics of this simple. It's a simplistic story written by fantastically spiritual people, and that should have been our first clue. And who would do that in the first place? Someone who wanted to discover magic on our own, just wondering. My world was ripped apart by the Archons, thought I was totally doomed, when in fact, I now know 12 months later, with divine insight, they brought me to the goddess. Thank you, T.L. Clark. Divine insight, hindsight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's what I think happened. And I'm just going to lay this out. This will be our introductory type of discussion of this. What we call the fall of Sophia wasn't really a fall at all. What the fall of Sophia was Sophia being in the galactic core. Lisa Renee would call it Andromeda. I would call it the galactic core. I would call it Vortavor. I would call it, that's what the Klingons would call it, Vortavor. To the Romulans, or I think the Romulans would call it Vortavor. I think the Klingons would call it Jacquerie. But at any rate, the central core of the universe where divinity lives, the essential etheric environment where the holiest of the holies and the highest of the high and the gods and goddesses of the gods and goddesses would live. And Sophia was there, the female goddess. She was there with her consort, the male god. And let's just pretend for a moment that they were the ultimate god and goddess. They may not have been. They were aeons. They were titans. Perhaps there's more. Perhaps there's not. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we just don't know. And it's funny, Sandra said today, she got a little bit exasperated. It's all just speculation. And I was reminded of Captain Kirk on the Enterprise talking about risk. Of course, he said, risk, gentlemen, is our business. And speculation, gentlemen, is our business. That's what we do. We speculate. We ruminate. We put out information for you to sift through and come to a place of your own understanding. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm not here to tell you what to drink. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not telling you who to do. I'm here to tell you to do your own do. You can milk this cow, but you got to make your own butter. At any rate, Sophia was in this galactic core. Sophia looked out into a wild and a wonderful and a vast universe into which she and her consort had been sending creative energies into. And they're in the galactic core. And of course, this galaxy has spiral arms. And she's wondering what the hell's going on in these arms. So she says to her consort, this is what we call the fall of Sophia. She says to her consort, dude, let's go out and see what's going on out there. I'm losing so much weight, I can't even keep these rings on my fingers. Watch this. These rings used to be so hard to keep on my hands. Watch this. They just come off of my fingers. It's crazy that these rings fall off my fingers. Totally crazy. And in fact, this ring Sandra gave to me, she says I'm her alpha and omega. It's got the alpha and omega. This is actually the second one because we were at the beach and it fell off my finger and was lost in the water, so I had to get a new one. But at any rate, that's what fasting will do for you. That's about what physical optimization will do for you. And physical optimization brings you to spiritual optimization. There you go. So anyway, Sophia's there saying, let's go out and let's explore. Let's go out and let's be adventurous. Let's go out and take a look at what's going on. For whatever reason, her consort said, no, I'm not going to go. Risk was not his business. He said, no, I'm not going to go. And Sophia was so moved with adventureness. Sophia was so moved with desire. Sophia was so moved with the burning, churning desire to go and to grow and to go, if we're going to carry the Star Trek analogy, where no goddess had gone before. She wanted to go out and see. She wanted to go out and go. She wanted to go out and do. And her consort said, no, I'm not going with you. So Sophia decided to go anyway. And let's face it, folks, even the Gnostics were writing within a male-dominated patriarchal society. That's what the Middle East was in the days of the first century, ruled by Rome, also with the Judeo-Christian rise. And I am defending Sophia. Stay with me. It's my channel. I'll do what I like. But at any rate, she decided she wanted to go out and learn and discover and experience. Her consort said, no, I'm staying. So her leaving, she came out of alignment with her consort. She came out of union with her consort. And she decided that she wanted to go out and she was going to go out. Perhaps she shouldn't have done it. But I blame her male consort as much as I blame Sophia. Here's why. I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, and I just have to break it down to ways and ideas and concepts that my simple mind can understand. Because if Sandra and I were talking about a situation and Sandra wanted to go and do something, Sandra wanted to go to South Dakota and look at the bunkers that are there. And I said, no, I don't want to go. And Sandra says, well, you know what? I really feel strongly that I'm going to go. Forget about the Bible. Doesn't matter. But yes, Sophia is in the New Testament. That's the seed of the argument that I had with John Lash Lamb. John wrote about her in very uncertain terms, and John Lash Lamb in very uncertain terms told me I was crazy, even though I showed him from the original Greek that Sophia, the organic light, was specifically mentioned by John, which meant John knew of the Gnostic rites of initiation, or Jesus told him, or John was Jesus, as I postulated earlier this week. So that's how he knew, because he was the incarnated Word. But if Sandra wanted to go to South Dakota and I didn't want to go and she was going to go, I wouldn't let her go by herself. I would accompany her because she's my consort. I would accompany her because she's my wife or will be. Did it ever occur to anyone that Sophia's rebellion caused the patriarchy as a reaction? Absolutely backwards, Blahoop. Sophia's rebellion was a rebellion against the whole idea of patriarchy, the whole concept of patriarchy. I think that patriarchy is a response towards Sophia daring as a goddess to say, I talked with you about this, my male consort. I reasoned with you about this, my male consort, and you forbade me to go, but I had to be obedient to the heavenly vision. I had to be obedient to that which beat within my breast. I had to be obedient to that which burned within my bosom. And he should have went with her. Why don't we ever hear of the fall of the consort of Sophia? Why does the dude get a free pass? And Sophia takes it right on the chin. Some of you thought I was going somewhere else with that. So Sophia went out. Her consort refused to go with her. So she did leave out of union. She did leave out of alignment. And women are getting framed as eternal victims of men because men are those that have written history up until this time. And the winners always write the history. So think about Sophia. She's leaving the galactic core. She's heading out to Earth to take a look at this place. And think of what frame of mind she's in, what energetic emanations are coming from her. She's left the galactic core. She's a goddess, but she's sad, yet she's excited, yet she's probably discouraged, yet she's full of anticipation, yet she is probably somewhat upset, yet she's still a full goddess, and she has to be carrying some of the negative energetic essence of her consort that said, no, don't go, and no, I won't go with you. So she's excited, she's hurt, she's full of adventure, she's sad. She's got a full plethora of emotions. But what she didn't know was that in the very act of her as a goddess, and I'm not doing the Illuminati thing, but in the very act of her as a goddess, leaving the stellar core and passing through space and time and passing through masses of inanimate objects, physically inanimate objects, rocks and dust and dark matter, and then passing through spiritual inanimate matter, extinguished cores of beings, dormant cores of beings. She's passing through animate, inanimate, organic, non-organic, spiritual, physical manifestations, matter. And what she didn't realize was that as she passed through, you remember in the New Testament when Jesus, the Lord, the Master, the Christ, whatever you choose to call him, he would walk through crowds and people would receive unction from him, be healed just by having him pass by. People would climb the trees just so they could see him pass by. If you could just touch the hem of his garment, if you could just feel the breeze, if you could just somehow reach out and touch him, if he just passed you by, you could receive of his energetic essence. So did Sophia just create Yaldabaoth in a very linear act, and he became Yahweh and everything went to hell in a handbasket? I don't think so. And it'll be interesting to see what Mark Center Saint, who just entered the chat room, thinks about this. Sophia leaves the stellar core with all of this energetic essence, and she's going through space. And as she passes through spiritually inanimate objects, physically inanimate objects, her virtue, her train, her energetic essence, as she moves through, it kind of filters off like a comet. And as her energetic essence goes out and makes contact with these physically inanimate objects, as her train, her essence, her energetic signature goes out and makes contact with these spiritually inanimate objects, spontaneous generation of life force takes place. Spontaneous generation of life force takes place. As she passes by, things come alive. As she passes by, dormant spirits are reborn. As she passes by, dead planets are brought back to life. As she passes by, her energetic signature touches things that have not life, and all of a sudden, they have life. Now, does that sound more like a presentation of something that has spiritual depth and reality to it, or does it sound like, oh, she created one dude, he went bad, and that's really the totality of what we're looking at today in our world? I think the fall of Sophia wasn't a fall at all. She disagreed with her consort. She wanted to explore. He said no in a domineering fashion. She left, yes, came out of union, yes, came out of alignment, carrying his domineering energy with all of her mixed energetic eminences, and her passing by, her passing through, caused the formation of not just Yaldabaoth, but all of the Archons, all of the things in this universe that were created. Much of it was created simply by the goddess Sophia passing through. So the question that has to be asked is, so how did Yaldabaoth come to be the most powerful of the entities that were created? How do we know? We seem to know that Yaldabaoth became the most powerful of the entities that were created as Sophia passed by. I think, oh, she created Yaldabaoth and he created all the bad shit is far too simplistic. It just doesn't have the resonance of reality to me. It's too simplistic. You may disagree. That's okay. But why was Yaldabaoth the strongest? Why was Yaldabaoth the dominant one? Was Yaldabaoth the first that she happened to pass by? In her journey from the stellar core, did he have the simple, dumb luck to happen to be the closest entity to her as she passed by? Was he the blind Bartimaeus that happened to be in the right place in the right time when Jesus passed by? Was the being that was to become Yaldabaoth, was he just possessed of the dumb luck to be in the right place at the right time? I think it's a fascinating postulation. I think it's a fascinating contemplation. And to me, it's much more intellectually satisfying. To me, it's much more empirically satisfying. And to me, as an ardent student of epic and spiritual literature, it seems to be much more in line with and much more worthy and deserving of epic literature. And as Mark Center Saint says, her mixed emotions thought formed him. Mark's getting ahead of me, but that's exactly where I'm going. And within him was greatness because he was beautiful. He was powerful. Yet within him was the mixed emotions of Sophia. Thank you, Mark Center Saint. If Mark is on the same page with me, this is good stuff. And she didn't just fall and decide to create a being without the consort's approval. She decided she wanted to go and explore and see this earth place. And he said no, and she left with the mixed emotions. And as Tracy says, those emotions were strongest and closest to the separation from her consort. So Yaldabaoth was there. And then this just dropped into my mind. Was Yaldabaoth eavesdropping? Did he somehow know that there was an argument, if you will, taking place in the halls of Jacquerie? And did he wait just outside the door to suck up all of that energetic essence as the goddess passed him by? How often do you get the opportunity to be in the presence of an Aeon, a Titan, a goddess of the highest order, a god of the highest order? How often do you get that opportunity? Was it just dumb luck? Or did he somehow have some faculty to be able to know that she was coming by? I don't know exactly which way it went, but I'm pretty damn sure it didn't go the way that linear A, B, C, D presentation within the Nag Hammadi scriptures. And it wasn't really meant to be received that way, because the Nag Hammadi too was written for those with eyes to see and with ears to hear. And the Nag Hammadi too has got its diamond and its dung ratio. Maybe it's better than the New Testament. Maybe it's not better than the New Testament as far as the diamond to dung ratio. But all of the archonic powers that are in the world were created by the passing by of the great goddess Sophia and the energetic emanation that came off of her, causing spontaneous generation of life, spiritual life, in these defunct or not yet animated essences. So all of the Archons were not created by Yaldabaoth. He just wanted you to believe all the Archons were created by Yaldabaoth. The Archons were created by Sophia. So really, you ask yourself, did God create the devil? The answer is yes. The goddess created the devil, but she didn't mean to create the devil. She did a sin of commission, not omission. She perhaps was overzealous. She was perhaps she probably did ready, fire, aim instead of ready, aim, fire. Ron and Yanni says that Sophia Stun stole her light energy. What he made us by accident, he lost in us. He's been trying to get it all back by stealing her spark back. I don't think he stole. Well, he did steal it, but he just happened to be the right place at the right time, or he manipulated himself and the situation to take advantage of it. Mark Center Saint says he's the most powerful due to her most powerful emotion, being the most powerful emotion at the time. I think he got the best of both worlds, Mark. And at the end of the day, because of what happened with him, he couldn't stand the test and ultimately failed because of what? Because of ego. Your ego is not your amigo, cousin. I no longer buy the simplistic. I no longer buy the elementary. I no longer believe that the goodies are served on the lowest shelf. I believe that eyes that want to see, ears that want to hear, develop this sense of knowing that it's not this easy. It's not this simple. There's more to it. Let me look deeper. Let me look higher. Let me look further. Let me get out a pick and an axe and a shovel and some brushes. And let me get down to the heart of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. The fall of Sophia wasn't a fall at all. It was only a fall if you look at it in terms of patriarchal domination. Was it a mistake? At the end of the day, yes, it was a mistake. And yet I have to believe, and we'll get into this next time, that it was very likely a mistake that had to happen, a mistake that has been leveraged by both Sophia and the rest of the eons and the rest of the deities to our advantage. I don't know what you mean about moonshine manifesting muse. I didn't tell you to make any. I'm not sure what you said to do, but that's funny. I think we've bought too simplistic of an understanding for too long, and we ought to start thinking more deeply. And we ought to start thinking more powerfully. And the fall of Sophia wasn't her just deciding to create another being outside of union with her consort. It was her trying to get him to go with her into a land of adventure, his refusal, and her saying, I'm doing it anyway. And if you think about it, I'll make your own do. That's right. Do your own do. That's funny. Good stuff. If you think about it, it very closely mirrors the story of Lilith. Lilith's like, listen, I'll be equal with you, no problem, but I'm not going to be subservient to you. And they threw her out. Sophia says, look, I want you to come with me. I want to do this together. He said, no. So she went and did it on her own anyway. Lilith, Sophia, and guess what? Sophia incarnated Lilith to help show us the way back to undo the mess that she created by creating all these Archons inadvertently, not on purpose, but yet she still did it. So that's why she entered willingly into correction, to show us, to plant within our eternal psyche the understanding of what really happened. So one day we would know, and one day we could go and fulfill the dreams and the desires and the hopes that she had when she made us and when she came to see us, not knowing what her journey would create. We have a path blazed. Wasn't blazed exactly the way that she meant it to be, but yet there's a path that's made that would not have been there if she had not been of a mind of intrepidity, if she had not been divine, if she had not been sovereign, if she had not been free. That gift could not have been given to you and to me. Sometimes that which is meant for evil is turned to our good. I think the fall of Sophia is the seed of our ascension. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is New Cosmic Knowledge. Full credit to Sandra for her probably leadership in this, but at least co-authorship of this. And it's amazing stuff. It's certainly something for you to ponder. And remember, Tuesday night, right here on this channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Global Witness, a meeting of epic proportions, I think. And I'll see you, of course, between now and then. But until then, I'm reminding you that you are divine, you are sovereign, you are free. I'm reminding you to ask questions and question answers. And Sandra and I stand ready to help you create yourself and build the life that you'll love. JeffreyDarty.com, rawreflections.org, serpentanddove.org. Go in the box below, sign up for the Fluffy free trial. Give yourself 30 days of high frequency, bliss bubble, high consciousness field to manifest your dreams, your growth, your development. I'm Jeffrey Darty. For Sandra D, I'm giving you a salute for being here seeking after truth, reminding you that the divinity in me does recognize the divinity in you, and encouraging you to create yourself and build the life that you'll love.